Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this marks the first of what I hope to be many times to address you and my colleagues on an issue that I have been graced with having the responsibility to deal in the public policy arena about, and that's the whole issue of nuclear waste. Now, when people talk about nuclear waste and this debate about where it is and why it's there, they primarily talk about our nuclear utilities. And especially after Fukushima, Daiichi, people understand that when you store high-level nuclear waste on sites, and if there's a disaster that occurs, and if the pools run dry, then you might have a melting, which might spread radioactivity, and that's not good for anybody. And that's a good debate to have because we have nuclear waste stored all over this country. But I'm not here really to talk about the private for-profit sector, the nuclear industry today. I'm here to tell another story. Another story that really talks about why we have government and why there's still a need for some government entities. So I had a chance to visit during our last district work period. I took a day and visited a place called Hanford, Washington. Hanford, Washington was part of the Manhattan Project. The Hanford was the site that the U.S. military picked to help produce plutonium. It is an environmental disaster and a hazard that has to be cleaned up. Why do I bring this before you, Mr. Speaker, and why is this important? Because in 1982, part of the process of dealing with Hanford was to pass a law. And the law was called the Nuclear Waste Policy Act. And in that law, it says, we've got a solution. We're going to collect all the high-level nuclear waste, and we have a storage facility that we're going to place it in. And that place is Yucca Mountain. And so I do the side-by-side comparisons here. Right now at Hanford, we have 53 million gallons of nuclear waste on site. Yucca Mountain, which is a site we designed, we picked, we've studied for decades. We spent $12.5 billion. We currently have no nuclear waste there. The nuclear waste at Hanford is stored 10 feet underground. The nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain will be stored 1,000 feet underground. The nuclear waste at Hanford is 250 feet above the groundwater. The nuclear waste at Yucca will be stored 1,000 feet above the water table. The nuclear waste at Hanford is a mile from the Columbia River. The closest river to Yucca Mountain is the Colorado River, which is 100 miles away. Now, I'll come back to this floor throughout the year and highlight different locations around the country of where there's waste and start pleading with my colleagues to help us stop two people: the President of the United States and Majority Leader Harry Reid. Majority Leader Reid has blocked our ability to continue to move forward and take nuclear waste from around this country and place it underneath a mountain in a desert. One senator is blocking this, one senator from the state of Nevada. But it's time for the other senators from these other states who are affected, regardless of their party, to say, I don't want this high-level nuclear waste in my state. We have a federal law to move it to this underneath a mountain in a desert. And it's time for them to stand up and be counted. So who are we asking to stand up and be counted and help us move this? Well, we just happen to have 4 U.S. senators. 2 from the state of Washington, 2 from the state of Oregon. Senator Cantwell, Senator Murray, Senator Wyden, and Senator Merkley. These senators need to step up and plate, and these senators need to do their job. They need to speak to the majority leader We understand the majority leader who wants to protect the state of Nevada. So I'm not trying to lift mountains that I can't personally lift. But what I can do is start making the clarion call to senators around this country who have high-level nuclear waste in their state, when we have already spent $12.5 billion for a single repository, and as I've said numerous times, underneath a mountain in a desert.